What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer. Taking a look at the OCG ban list. I think this came out a couple of days ago, but I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on it, like generally speaking, and then talk a little bit more about, where the TCG's at in comparison. So they finally figured out that Union Carrier is just insane card. So I don't know where they're at when it comes to like Drytron. I don't think anybody plays it anymore. I just remember that basically the card that got this ban was that Dawn card where it's sent to the graveyard, lets you add a light monster from your deck to your hand, or a light fairy, I think it was, which obviously was like very big in the deck. Other than that, at the time in the TCG when it was banned, I mean, I guess everybody was kind of doing a little bit of everything. It got Destruction Sword banned, which I thought was fine because no one uses it now. And I understand that the card limit's design, but I'm just trying to think back. Like, I'm pretty sure Drytron was the biggest application of this. I don't know. It finally got it banned here, but I like the more cards that come out. Like, the card is badly designed, and I think this is the actually good news for ABC players. That means they're gonna have to finally make a new ABC link, which is great. Hopefully, it's one that just equips a light machine from the deck. That would solve a lot of problems. We'll see. Wandering Griffin Rider is kind of wild to get banned just out of nowhere. I mean, 3 and 0 is pretty much the same thing. I don't think anyone's ever played multiple copies of Griffin, so it seems more extreme, I think, than it really is. Could this card be banned here? I don't know, man. I remember at the height of it, right before Splight came out, you would special summon this, and him and Rox Rose, or Red Rose, were just crazy. They'd make Baron, which would bring out, the other Rose from the deck, which would search Basil Rose Shoot. So I like, that was like when this card was like, wow, maybe this card should get banned. But since then, the Adventure Engine has just completely fallen off. I know like Sprite Adventure was a thing for some time, but haven't really been seeing that. I don't think that's really the most popular version of the deck anymore. Maybe I'm wrong, and someone will win the next YCS with it. But it seems like the adventure stuff has just fallen right off the map. I guess when you're, going up against a really big board, just seeing adventures and great, it's still a good engine. So maybe it'll see some relevancy once some of the top decks like Tier Lament and Sprite get hit, just leaving a little bit of extra room, for some other decks. And then when those cards get banned, obviously, like, more people will just play it, because that's the funny thing about Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that people like always forget. It's like the only thing that wins a tournament is what people bring, if that makes sense. So if more people are bringing adventure stuff, then the adventure stuff is going to top, just statistically speaking. But yeah, they're pretty wild. It's a pretty big ban list, I would say, for the OCG. These are game-changing cards, or can be, especially this one. So these were the limits. Big hit to Splites, which is pretty crazy because I feel like the Tier Lament stuff was just dominating. The last time I checked, like the OCG reports or some of those graphics that people make, it seemed like Sprite came out, took over the meadows like Tier 0, and then once the Tier Lament cards came out, then slowly but surely it started to make its way. And then when these new Ishizu cards came out, it's these two up here, that's when things got wild, right? Because when they're sent to the graveyard, they mill like 8 cards, which is crazy. I think this card has only been out for them for like a month, and it is already limited, which is kind of frustrating. Because this, like, right here highlights like the differences between the OCG and the TCG. Well, there's a few things we're worth talking about here. The first thing is like, well, this card doesn't come out and it's already limited, so that's like how far behind. It's the most frustrating part about playing the Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG is that you always like want to be ahead of the game. So like you want to work with this new stuff, but so that you're ready for it. But it doesn't come out until forever, so you're kind of just wasting your time playing these cards that who knows when they'll come out. But if you're playing regular Yu-Gi-Oh!, I guess it doesn't really make a difference to you, and you just kind of go along with it. But it does suck to see that like the OCG gets all these new cards all the time, and we just get these few products that are like chasers for every single card. I saw this post on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anonymous Twitter page about how you can get every single card you need for Splight for like $75, like Smashers, 3 blue, the whole 9 yards, and it like 1 blue out here is like $60. So for some reason when I look at these limits, it just reminds me, it's like, wow, all these cards are like super expensive. And then also there's just cards that have come out already for them for a while that who knows when we'll ever get to grab them. Swap Frog to 1, which is still extremely interesting, right? Because I'm pretty sure Totally Awesome was banned for them. I'd have to look at the list. This is the OCG list, so I'm pretty sure Totally Awesome. Yeah, that card is banned. So I don't know why you would then, on top of that, I didn't know that's what people were using. So, okay. Interesting enough, right? Didn't know. Yada came back. I guess they were experimenting the TCG and they're realizing that it doesn't really do anything. Maybe this is like... I know that some people play this in Flu, but Flu obviously is like a very big influence over there for them because map gets limited. It's a good card, so I guess that kind of makes sense. I just didn't know Flu and Deriz was good like that. Also, like going wrong with Flu, of course, you do have Dimension Shifter, which recently just pretty much won someone a YCS. There's that great picture of the finals where he activates a danger and then he chains Dimension Shifter because it's just a game ender for tier especially. I obviously can't think of anything that would be not as worse for them. It's like the greatest hand trap ever. It's just the anti-tier cards. Anything else over here? Time Seal, like I guess the TCG was just their experiment. I could definitely see this happening. I really like this hit. I think this is great. Jet even seems like a little extreme, but I guess you have to search Smashers now. But it's the thing that makes Splice so good is not that they set up the craziest end boards ever. They're good, or it's like Two-Toed, maybe like a Red Negate and Smashers, which that is a good end board. It's definitely a meta end board, but there's been more powerful, right? There's definitely some more powerful end boards, but the thing is, it's like one starter just equals so much advantage. So it's like you're gonna spend so many resources to break this board if you can, and then once you do that, they just flip starter and then they start playing, right? They get all these cards because blue just means so much. So their ability not to do it again, it almost reminds me of like Prank Kids, if that makes sense, where Prank Kids was so good because they could just do the combo over again. So when you made Miyamu to limited, it did make a difference. I guess maybe not the greatest difference in the world. It got banned, but that's the idea at least. I think that the fact that they can't do their combos twice, so they got to do something else. And great to see semi-limited the ABC Dragon Buster. Don't know why that card has been living on the ban list for so long. Their format is just so strange. Pretty wild to see like multiple hits. Like who's going to use the Invention Engine anymore? Like, so why you got to hit Water Enchantress too? Or maybe did Water Enchantress go from 1 to 2? It did. That makes sense. Okay, so they're slowly releasing it, but I don't know who would play it without Wandering Griffin. Like that's the whole part of it. I feel like Phantom Knight's pretty insane to see. Like, all right, Hafinus. This is a great hit. So the field spell obviously is a searcher, and Hafinus is the one that plays during your opponent's turn. In case you guys didn't know. So I know the thing I don't like about this archetype is that they look so similar. It bothers me, but Hafinus is the one that when you activate a monster effect, he gets a special summon. So I think they've done the appropriate amount of work when it comes to slowing down tier element. And I think that's definitely something that we could see. I could see a limit of the field spell, and I could see this going down to 2. Maybe not like right now, you know what I mean? But, later down the road. And then their unlimits, I think, are just kind of clean up. Danger Jackalope, pretty funny. I talked about this last video, about the application of Gen X Ally. So funny in 2022 to see this card was semi-limited for who knows how long. Magical Meltdown. The meta-defining Magical Meltdown in a format with some of the craziest cards ever. And, Widow Anchor too, which could be a big deal. I don't know how big of a difference it makes. Probably like a marginal one. I'm pretty sure they have Engage, at 2 over there. So it's almost getting close to full power, and that's just how crazy the meta is right now. Also, I think Sky Spagger just has really bad matchups against the meta, right, as it is currently. So, yeah, that was like a little run-through of the ban list, my thoughts, and then talk about the TCG a little bit. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Other than that, that's going to do it for today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.